Fox News Alert, a live look at the Supreme Court, where in less than 2 hours, justices will hear arguments in President Trump's push to get his name back on the ballot in Colorado and keep it on across the country. Fox News contributor, former counselor to Donald Trump, Kellyanne Conway, joins us now. Kellyanne, I'm hard-pressed to find legal experts who don't think that Trump's going to prevail here. What about you?
It really depends. I mean, you can't just have one person in Maine and a couple people in Colorado speak for the rest of the country. Where these attempts have been made, Brian, in state after state, including so-called blue states, the cases have been dismissed. So we're just looking really right now at a handful of states, a few states, where they have prevailed because they don't know how to beat Donald Trump fairly and squarely vis-a-vis the people. Had folks who don't like Donald Trump and don't want him to be president again spent an iota, a fraction of the time, studying the Trump voter as they have obsessing over Donald Trump, things may be a little bit different. They don't know how to beat him at the ballot box. They amazingly and confoundingly stuck with Biden, let alone Harris, who's even less popular than Biden is, and now they're sort of stuck with them going into 2024. Trump is beating them in all these swing states. I think if they're all laughing, oh, we're going to go up against Donald Trump again, perfect. If they really feel that way, then let the people decide.
So the other big story that Robert Hur this week, appointed by Merrick Garland to investigate the classified documents in Joe Biden's midst as years as senator, vice president, as a private citizen, and as president. He's going to release this report. And evidently at the White House, they want to be able to see it first and put in context what it's going to reveal. A lot of the witnesses think it's going to be bad, reportedly. What do you think is going to happen? What could the fallout be from Robert Hur's non-criminal report?
Well, it could be devastating because there's so little mainstream media attention paid to the fact that Joe Biden, we know, had classified documents where they shouldn't have been, including next to his Corvette in a garage to which his, of all people, waste-of-life son Hunter Biden had access. Why is that relevant? It's relevant because we have so many different things going on with the Biden family now that have never been fully litigated, again, vis-a-vis the people at the ballot box. Joe Biden lied to the country in 2020 at that debate. Nobody's under oath at a debate. Or on TV, by the way, good reminder, or at the bully pulpit Biden. And so we know now that he lied about business dealings, about being intimately involved with Hunter's business dealings in countries that are in the news every day, including China and Ukraine. So this Robert Hur report could be devastating. I want to tell you, in the Trump White House, when the Mueller report came out, we did not have advance notice of that. We all huddled together in the chief of staff's office, me, a fully recovered attorney, 12-step program and everything, put on my legal cap, put on my communications cap, was given a dedicated portion of it, as were others. We didn't know what we found out when you found out what was in that report.
So they should not get a heads up, is your point.
Found out.
They should not get a heads up.
They should not get a heads up. By the way, we need separation. We need separation here. This is an executive. This is the executive branch. It's the Department of Justice under Joe Biden that directed this investigation. I don't want to hear it's mega MAGA. It's Trump hillbillies who are after it.
So let me.
This is his own investigation.
So you did a story in a great editorial in the New York Times about who Donald Trump's potential #2 could be, the criteria, and who you're leaning towards.
Sure. Well, I think less important is who than why. What is the job description for Donald Trump's vice president this time as opposed to last time when I was very much in favor of Trump and Pence? This time, it has to be someone who's not a distraction to him. He doesn't have to be held to account for any of their scandals or statements or past positions. It needs to be someone that doesn't just help Trump win, Brian, but helps him govern. And there's a big question for President Trump here. Are you showing effectively that you're passing the MAGA baton to the next person, or are you going to go the Dick Cheney route, which is somebody who's not going to compete with you, won't have eyes on the 2028 prize every single day, and execute their duties as vice president with that on their minds? I know there's a lot of pick a woman, pick a woman. The women I've mentioned there, young and some mothers of young children, some grandmothers and more seasoned legislators and chief executives I mentioned there, like Marsha Blackburn, Joni Ernst. Certainly, he can look at that. He can look at people ready on day won, like Pompeo, Tom Cotton, Marco Rubio. But I think pick a woman is limited because we beat Hillary Clinton in 2016. She was about to be the first female president of the United States when a majority of the voters were women. So, and by the way, 8 years before that, Barack Obama became the first African-American black president when a majority of the voters were white. So it's all to say that credit the voters. We don't just vote according to our race and our gender. Women don't vote if you share your gender. They vote if you share your vision and values. My advice is to pick a person of color. I think Donald Trump's going to have monster returns among Hispanic Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans, core constituencies of the Democratic Party that are now bleeding away from Joe Biden.
All right, Kellyanne, it's a great column and great ideas. I'm sure the president will read it. Thank you, Kellyanne Conway.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.